Georgiana, do you ever have those days where TNT is really the only answer? Greetings, everybody. This is Winnie Wriggle, and today we're going to blow some stuff up. That's right. Do you ever have those days where you think, I have that project I really want to work on. I really want to finish it. Why am I not finishing it? Am I just procrastinating? Is there something else catching my attention? Or is it just that I don't like the thing that's in the middle of the space I want to work on? Yep. I'm talking about our farm building. It's not bad, but it's kind of boring. A little subpar. Completely underwhelming. There's no life, no pizzazz, no je ne sais quoi. So we're going to start today's episode by blowing it up. That's right, it's demolition time. I'll do my best to capture the destruction on screen. We're going to use the replay mod and see if it does as good a job of capturing me building as it does capturing me blowing something up. Here we go. Well, that was satisfying. There's nothing better than a little TNT to start your day with. I did clean up the last level by hand because there are villagers underneath us. This is the top of our villager trading hall. I thought it would be less risky than accidentally TNTing some hard work we've already done. Now it's time to do a little terraforming in preparation for the new build that's going to replace our old farm building. And we're back. And now that we have cleared the area to be ready for our build, let's talk a little bit about the planning process and the best tool in the planner's arsenal, that is scaffolding. It's not just for climbing up on things. I'm going to commentate, but hopefully I'm recording this in the replay mod so you can see what I'm doing as I'm going. We're going to start with one of the basic structures of the building, which is a tower, which is just a small circle. And then to make it a little more interesting, we're going to come off one of the sides. We're going to start with simple shapes. And then let's go back up here to our circle and decide instead of coming off the center point, we're going to come off of this edge. And yes, I did plan this out in a creative world ahead of time, but the process that I went through is exactly the same. So we have a fairly simple shape, right? It's still pretty interesting. We're going to have a tower, and then we have two sections of the building, but these flat lines are kind of boring. So let's add a little bit more shape on the back side of the building and the front side of the building. So we're going to come in after the third block, just a few spaces there. And then on the top of the building, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to come in after a couple of blocks and change the shape of the outside of the building. Some things I have kept in mind while building this. I'm trying to keep as many sides as possible made up of odd numbers. So for example, the walls that come off the circle to the south there's 5 blocks between the circle and the turning point. So every spacing, with the exception of one of the curves here, I've tried to keep in odd numbers. So there's 5s and 7s and 3s and 9s. This will make roofing and putting windows much easier when we actually start the build. So there it is, our building blueprint ready to go. This also fits nicely in with the scale of the rest of the buildings around us. It's a good match to our main base. I'm also going to put a cobblestone retaining wall along here, just like we did up at the bottom of our base when we put in our gardens. So as we add more farms down here, they'll look very similar in nature to the things we've already built. That's what we like to call harmony in terms of our building styles. Even if we pick a slightly different palette with different buildings, if we make our landscaping similar, they look like they belong in the same place. By the way, I also might have found a few friends while we were planning out our building. Hi, kittens. Now let's take a look at our palette for the building itself. It's fairly straightforward with just a touch of color using the nether brick walls to give it a little bit of interest and contrast. We're actually going to use composters in the construction along the base of the build. Little dark oak. That's oak and stripped oak logs around the windows. And for the windows, we're using a subtle trick where I have dark oak as the top stair and spruce as the bottom to make the window look like it's in shadow. The tower will be made of similar materials, just arranged in a slightly different way to give it a little more contrast. And I think that brings us to the end of our planning process. Now it's time to get building. I think I saw... Oh, I did it! A skeleton horse! Okay. We definitely want some skeletal companions. It's very likely this will spawn the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, so prepare for battle. Ooh, yep. Hi. Could y'all come up here? Because I don't want to hurt the horses. Seriously, we're going to do this underwater? I don't want to hurt the horse. I don't want to hurt the horse. Here, there's one. Okay, if you could not shoot that horse, that'd be great. Oop. Oop, and not die. Oop, okay. Y'all hold it right there. I gotta go sleep. Because otherwise it'll be bad. Please hold. Okay, I'm totally ready for you again. Yeah. Oh, he just got off your horse. What the hell happened? Did you kill him? You better not have killed the horse. I'd be so mad. Can you not? Oh. Hi, guys. Where's the fourth? I think he died. Oh, I'd be so mad. Yep, there's a lot of bones. A lot of bones. They're so cool. I'm a little bit of a pincushion. Hey, I fought valiantly for y'all. Be my friend. How do I not have saddles up here? I'm name tagging you first. We'll get saddles later. Please don't despawn. Ow. Ow. There's Mo. There's Curly. And there's Larry. Super fast skeleton horse. Oh my god, they're so cool. The coolest part about them, this is the coolest part. Underwater horseback. We can make ocean journeys across the bottom of the ocean. Look out, ocean monument. Me and my trusty steed. I also have collected quite a few cats while I've been building because they're kittens and they keep spawning and they're cute. Yeah, so menagerie. Ugh. Where was I? Building. That's right. Let's get back to it. And that is our new farm building complete. I think it turned out very well. I'm much more pleased with this in terms of the space and the scale and even the style. Let's take a quick nap and I'll show you the interior. It is still mostly an empty shell, but I did finish out the floor in stripped oak and stripped spruce. And then here's the inside of our tower, which should make for a very nice farm of some kind. I'm thinking sugarcane, probably. And then there's plenty of room in here to do other things as well. You'll notice that I have some materials out. The last thing I want to do in this episode is finish the retaining wall that's behind this building, and I thought that would be something we could do together. So I've pushed this wall of dirt back a couple of blocks so that I have room to build a retaining wall in front of it. So let's start with our first layer of cobble and mossy cobble, and maybe a tiny bit of andesite and plain stone bricks. But remember, cobble is really our primary building block. I'm literally going to mimic exactly this shape of the wall by just putting a layer of these blocks in front of it. So for each of these walls, so if we think of that as a 2x4 wall, I'm going to make a 2x4 wall in front of it with this material, right? So I'm gonna put maybe a little bit of stone brick. So I'm literally just adding a layer that's exactly the layer that's behind it. This is the first step. And just like I've talked about in the past when we're making paths, I treat these like veins of material. So you can see the andesite kind of runs in a vein. That makes the end build look a little bit more natural and less like you spammed bricks. Although you can just spam and it'll be perfectly fine. So all I've done is add a layer of the blocks that we're using for our block palette to the back of the wall. Now it's time to make it look interesting. So we're going to do that by getting rid of all of our square blocks and bringing down the non-square blocks, including all of our mossy variations. And what I want to try to do is add layers to the wall that are various shaped, right? And I also want to leave some cobblestone walls for setting lanterns on. And we want to do this at the top of the wall as well. So you can also come along the bottom and just use slabs as a starting point. Like randomly scattering them. And then come back and do the same with stairs. Like, see here we have 2 mossy cobble. It'll look good to put more mossy cobble with that. And then maybe switch it up to andesite next to it because that's the material that's there. Again, we're trying to make this look like it's been here a while and it's a little bit rubbled. And wherever I think it needs it, I might also bring the wall down into the ground a little bit. Don't be afraid to layer things on top of each other. So for example, I'm going to put that mossy cobble stair and then stick another slab underneath it and then maybe one even further down. So it looks like a chunk of mossy cobble. Okay, so we have basically added shape to this wall and you could spend quite a bit of time tweaking this. The last step that I do for the lower part of the wall is just to spam in a little greenery. Everything looks better covered in a couple of bushes. The same principle applies when you're talking about using bushes. They should look like they're kind of wandering and growing in veins. They also have the added benefit of not being spawnable because they're leaves, which is great. Okay, let me grab a couple of lanterns and we'll light this up. I also brought some chains in case we have room at the top to hang a lantern from. So if I did something like this, I could put a chain and suspend a lantern from it in the middle of our wall, which I really like. Okay, I'm gonna put it over here and then maybe find another place to suspend a lantern from right here, maybe this time without the chain. So that we've got light and it adds a little bit of visual interest to the wall. Okay, I'm going to finish spamming leaves along this side. So now let's finish up the top of the wall. We're going to mimic these border walls that are on the edges of our beds. These will also mostly be made of the shaped blocks like stairs, walls, maybe the occasional solid block. But we're really looking for something a tiny bit more delicate, if you will. And just like our flower bed borders, now we have a border along the top of this wall. We'll finish it off by putting a couple of bushes every now and then. Again, with reducing the number of spawnable blocks. And then we'll come along and stick a couple of lanterns on here to help with our lighting. And that is a completed retaining wall. Step by step, start with a plain layer, then add shape by using non-standard shaped blocks, And then you can kind of casually disguise any flaws you may have by adding bushes and lanterns for detail. Between our new retaining wall, our brand new farming building, and the adventures that we had hunting down our new skeleton horses, I think that's everything we have time for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a like. It helps me out and I appreciate it. If you'd like to keep up with what's going on the channel, don't hesitate to subscribe. And remember, as always, you are the shiny stuff that awesome is made of. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.